think it's more of, educating the investors. I think a lot of work has to be done by sales teams at banks to actually educate their investors. I think there's a lot of work to be done on that side of things. I also think, we need some regulatory help to actually ensure that, there are proper infrastructures in place for these additional securities.
Now, looking at markets outside of Nigeria, the American markets, we've seen the Dow, rise phenomenally in the last couple of months. It actually hit 15,000 points last week. Looking at the Nigerian market now, while we can argue that we're not a developed market, but how do you think we could move a little more faster than we are right now? I know a number of instruments have been introduced. We saw the ETF last year. We now have the market makers, but then there's still the issue of liquidity for the market makers. So where do you think we can, speed things up, as it were?
I guess a lot of things have to go down to infrastructure. I think e-commerce is the future for Nigeria. I think if we have proper infrastructure, I think people would get a lot more visibility on things, and people can trade things a lot quicker, a lot faster. Cost of doing business will go down. People will be able to, buy and sell quickly, and the cost of actually doing transactions will go down. I guess the advantage, developed markets have over Nigeria is basically, the fact that they have better infrastructure and they can trade efficiently.
Like outside of the financial markets, we're talking economy now.
Economy and even everything is structural. Whether it's the real economy or if it's the financial services, it's the same thing. If we have those things in place, because if you're going to buy something and if you think that if you got it wrong, the cost of actually getting out of that security is going to cost you a lot of money, you're less likely to actually do it, except if you're 100% sure. But in Europe, this cost of getting in and out of a transaction is very cheap. So because cost of doing business is cheap, so effectively people trade more and there's more liquidity and there's more volume. I think the Nigerian market, the level of or the quality of people we actually have in the market, I think there are a lot of smart investors and smart traders are out there. So I think it's all about infrastructure, and I think those are the kind of things that actually catalyze.
So when would you like to see this happen? Now, we of course the market has been. I'm trying to get to that. I want you to say yes. I would like to see the Nigerian market get to this level at this time. I mean, putting in mind, putting it in context of other markets outside our shores, even within the African continent.
I guess within our continent, I think our main competitor is South Africa. I think they've done a fantastic job. I wish Nigeria would get to the same level of South Africa as by early next year, if my dreams could come true. But because for my business, essentially it's a volumes-driven business. So the more transactions are done, the more profits and more revenues, and then we can create more jobs and we can expand further. So I think all in all, I think the problems are one and the same and have similar solutions.
In terms of market instruments, like I said, one or two have been introduced. For the next one, what market instrument would you like to see coming now, or that you think that we're ready for at this time?
I think I'd like to see a lot more transactions done in swaps. I think I'd like to see a lot more transactions done in non-deliverable forwards. And, I think this will attract a lot more foreign investors to play. I think there are a lot of people out there who are willing to actually...
Do you think we're ready for it as a market?
I think the traders are smart enough to do those transactions. So I think as a market, I think we're strong enough and we have the infrastructures out there for us to actually carry out those transactions, yes.
Okay, interesting. Hold your thoughts for us. We need to take a break at this point. We'll come back to talk more on the inter-dealer broker. I've been talking to Olushoga. He's an inter-dealer broker from Parthian Partners Inter-Dealer Brokerage firm. We'll be looking at the role of inter-dealer brokers at the Nigerian capital market. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We've been talking about inter-dealer brokers, who they are and what they do at the capital market. I've been talking to one of them, Olushoga from Party and Partners, an inter-dealer brokerage firm. They're actually the only licensed inter-dealer broker. I was going to bring that up with you. You're the only licensed inter-dealer broker. How is that?
Well, I mean, it's a new concept. I mean, there's only one other company, which is a foreign company, that does what we do in Nigeria. There are other people who maybe, would actually say, okay, fine, what's the difference between us and a stockbroker? For us, we don't talk to the retail investors, so the moms and pops. We're limited to just the wholesale market, so meaning, the banks, pension funds, insurance companies. So it's a specialized niche market. So it's not for everyone, because basically the pension funds will invest through us. The banks will find their own retail customers who want to do transactions.
So obviously you're a bigger player and you make more money.
Yeah, hopefully, we pray.
Well, hopefully. Well, let's talk about the benefits of this electronic. Now, we talked about the difference between the voice and the voice method and the electronic platform, which you say is obviously much better. But you say you still use both of them.
Yeah, I think we don't want to get too comfortable. You just saying, okay, fine, there's an electronic platform. People should just come and put in what they want to buy and what they want to sell, and just do transactions, and we move on. I think the value of the voice is it keeps the relationships in check. It gives you a good avenue to actually have a proper conversation with the traders, understand their market, what kinds of volumes they want to do, and help manage prices properly. Because sometimes some person might have a decent amount of size he wants to do, but might not be comfortable just putting it up there. He might be able to get a better price by calling up a broker and saying, hey, I have this much more of this to trade, and can you get me a better price than what I see on screen? And then it's the broker's job to try and see if he can get the transaction done at a better price in an orderly manner to ensure that the market remains active and does not shut down just because a large person or a large order has to pass through the market. Because you have situations where people could actually just panic, where they say, okay, there's a big account or a big bank looking to sell a big size of a particular bond, and they just panic. But then there might actually be enough demand for that bond that the market should not technically move that much. And so that inspires a lot more confidence that people think, okay, there's depth in the market. And
it actually sounds like a better option. Now, isn't there a way it can be, fused into the, I know, we're all going, technology and all of that, and it perhaps even saves time, I suppose, as one of the benefits. But isn't there a way both of them can go hand in hand? Because it looks like, you get a chance to, talk to the other person, know what his sentiments are, what his fears and concerns are.
Yeah, but sometimes you know that, okay, if it's a small size, you don't need to talk to anyone. You see the price, you know the market is tight enough. You're just going to want to trade and move on and then think about the next transaction. So I think, it's about efficiency, and it's about striking a balance between the voice system as well as the electronic system.
And making as much money as possible. Now,
for all stakeholders involved.
Really? Okay. Some of the other benefits are real-time and surveillance, the global exposure for the Nigerian financial markets. We talked about that. Cost effectiveness. How cost effective is it?
I think overall, transactions done between banks and large players in this market will be more efficient, like going through an inter-dealer broker, because you could have a banker at a particular bank or a trader or a dealer at a particular bank who doesn't know or doesn't have relationships, or maybe close relationships with more than 4 people. It's the job of the broker to have strong relationships with all the market participants in the wholesale market. And so our goal basically is to be able to provide better execution, and it's supposed to reduce the cost of doing business for the banks in the long run. Because yes, you might say, okay, fine, you're paying a broker to do a transaction on your behalf, but then you might be saving money, a large chunk of money, because you're getting a better price than you already might have just traded on. So, he gives you access to a wider range or a wider pool of people or price supply.